Good evening, everyone. Welcome to my presentation. I'd like to quickly introduce myself. I am Gea Vashya from 2E class, English Language Education, Ganesha University. Have you ever heard that Chinese is the one of the two world language with over 1 billion speakers? It is the most used mother tongue in the planet with over 900 million native speakers and more learning it as their second language. There are two kinds of Chinese language, Mandarin and Cantonese. If you're interested in working in most other parts of China, Mandarin will serve you better. Well, the goal or objective of my presentation is to inform you about the reason why learning Mandarin is important, and I would like to give you some tips how to speak Mandarin fluently. If you have any question, please hold until the end of this presentation. My presentation has 5 parts. First, I am going to present the definition of Mandarin language. Second, I will share with you the reason why we should learn Mandarin language. The next thing, I would like to give you some tips how to speak Mandarin fluently. Then I will conclude the presentation, and by the end of this presentation, you will be able to ask me about the material of this presentation. Now, I will start my presentation by explaining the definition of Mandarin language. Mandarin language is a form of spoken Chinese used by the court of the official classes of the empire, or also known as the group of closely related Chinese dialects that are spoken in about 4/5 of the century and have standard variety centering about Beijing. When Jesuit missionaries learned the standard language in the 16th centuries, they called it Mandarin from its Chinese name Guanhua, or language of the officials. Why we should learn Mandarin language? The first one is China is the most widely spoken language in the world. Chinese is the most widely spoken language in the world, with approximately 1 billion people speaking Chinese, of which 800 million speaking Mandarin, according to infoplice.com. Therefore, 15% of the global population speaking Chinese. Second, countries that speak Mandarin. As well as China, Mandarin is spoken in countries such as Malaysia, Taiwan, Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand, Brunei, Philippines, and Mongolia. So if you do business in these countries, then it would be beneficial to converse in their language. Third, learn about history and culture of China. Chinese history and culture is one the richest and certainly the oldest in the world. China is renowned for producing beautiful novels, short stories, poetry, and more certainly excellence in film. Fourth, it is good for business. Mark Zuckerberg is wowing audience across the world with his new Chinese skills, especially those important business executives in China. In fact, there are many top CEOs that speak Chinese as a second language. Fifth, travel to beautiful countries knowing you can communicate. If you can speak Mandarin, the world is your oyster. As you travel across South Asia, you will have the confidence to speak with the local in Chinese. You might even be invited into their homes for home-cooked food, experiencing real Chinese life. And the last, improve your brain power. We know we need to keep our brains well-oiled, and studies have shown that Mandarin speakers use both sides of their brains. This will certainly keep brains motoring. And how to speak Mandarin fluently? Simply speaking a language shows the knowledge of particular language, but speaking a language fluently shows perfection, and you can learn to speak Chinese fluently by following below tips. The first one is avoid focusing on grammar. Second is practice speaking Chinese aloud. The third is start thinking in Chinese. Fourth is immerse yourself. And the last, expand your vocabulary. That's all for the material of this presentation. Before we continue to question section, I will end this material of this presentation by summarizing the main points. Learning a new language is a thought and you're bound to make mistakes from time to time or even on a daily basis. Another important thing to keep in mind is that in time you will become fluent in Chinese and your efforts will pay off. Mistakes are good indicators that you need to study a particular area more or increase your understanding of the particular principle. In this way, mistake can help you to focus on what you really need to learn and become fluent in Chinese. I think that's all for my presentation. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to address them. I think there's no question at all, so I will end this presentation. Thank you for your attention and participation. I do apologize if I did a mistake during this presentation. May all those we have shared be beneficial for all of us and good luck. See you in another presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Gea.